Okay, let's just forget lions for a second, forget great white sharks. The whole idea of the giant apex predator, it's kind of a lie. Actually, the absolute most brutal, efficient killing machines on Earth, they don't weigh a ton. They weigh less than an ounce. Seriously, pound for pound, insects possess biological weapons that literally defy modern engineering. In this explainer, we're going to break down the planet's ultimate killers into three highly lethal tiers: assassins, executioners, and swarmers. Get ready, because it's about to get dark. First up, Tier 1, the assassins, the absolute masters of stealth. Take the Orchid Mantis. This thing doesn't just hide, it actually weaponizes beauty. Through a process called aggressive mimicry, it reflects UV light to make itself look way more attractive to pollinators than real flowers do. It just sits there, completely motionless, draws victims right into its serrated claws, and, well, it doesn't even wait for them to die. It simply starts eating them head first. 95%. Let that sink in for a moment. That is the staggering hunt success rate of the dragonfly. You know, lions fail 3/4 of their hunts, but the dragonfly, it is statistically the single most successful, most lethal predator on planet Earth. And here's why. It doesn't just chase its prey, it calculates. Operating exactly like an organic fighter pilot, it plots interception vectors to meet its prey mid-air. I mean, with 30,000 lenses per eye and totally independent wing muscles, this bug hovers, flies backward, and consumes its target entirely in flight. There's literally no escape. Now, aerial dominance is terrifying for sure, but as we leave the surgical precision of the assassins behind, well, the deaths are about to become exponentially more agonizing. Welcome to Tier 2, the executioners. This tier is all about sheer physical violence. Imagine this. If you scaled it up to human size, the Tiger Beetle would be sprinting at a relative speed of 400 miles per hour. It runs so incredibly fast that its tiny brain literally cannot process the visual information, rendering it temporarily blind while it runs. So it tracks its prey entirely by sound before clamping down with massive mandibles that crush armor like it's made of glass. But honestly, nothing quite compares to the militaristic slaughter of the Asian giant hornet. Here's how it goes down. A single scout locates and marks a target hive with pheromones, then summons a strike team. And get this, they don't even need stingers. Just 30 hornets will use massive, scissor-like mandibles to systematically decapitate 30,000 bees in under 3 hours. They just turn the entire hive into a slaughterhouse. Yet, as brutal as that is, decapitation is kind of like a mercy when you compare it to the psychological horror of the wheelbug. Armed with what looks like a literal crowbar on its face, this bug is the ultimate executioner of the undergrowth. When it stabs a victim, it triggers something called enzymatic liquefaction. Basically, it ejects a highly toxic cocktail of digestive enzymes that literally dissolves the prey's muscles, organs, and nervous system in mere seconds. And the worst part? The victim is still completely alive while this happens. The bug then just drinks the liquefied internal organs like a straw until nothing is left but an empty shell. Yeah, that is pure nightmare fuel. But individual brutality ends right here. Because as we pivot sharply to our final tier, the very concept of an individual predator completely vanishes. We've reached Tier 3, the swarmers. Total ecosystem domination. See, army ants don't bother building nests. They are basically a nomadic, living river of teeth. A single 600-foot column will strip an entire environment completely bare. We're talking about consuming up to 500,000 prey animals every single day. They don't overpower prey with poison, but through sheer, inescapable, mathematical certainty. Frogs, snakes, tarantulas, it doesn't matter. If you cannot outrun the swarm, you are being dismantled alive, piece by millions of jaws acting as a single, distributed superorganism. But believe it or not, army ants are just simple raiders compared to the final boss of the swarm, the driver ant. These hyper-militarized colonies routinely exceed 22 million individuals, and their jaws, they are so relentlessly strong that indigenous tribes actually use them as natural surgical staples. They literally force the ant to bite a wound closed and then rip its body off, leaving the jaws locked in place. These ants execute flawless, industrialized micro-warfare. Driver ants launch highly organized strategic campaigns against entire termite mounds. They deploy dedicated soldier casts, send out scouts, execute flanking maneuvers, and use perfect pincer movements to just massacre the inhabitants. It is absolute total war on a microscopic scale.
So, whether it's through the surgical stealth of the assassins, the raw kinetic force of the executioners, or the overwhelming, inescapable numbers of the swarmers, nature has truly perfected the art of the kill at the microscopic level. Clearly, size does not dictate dominance. So I have to ask you, assassins, executioners, or swarmers? If you were shrunk down to their size, which of these nightmare tiers would you absolutely least want to face? Drop your vote in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in our next explainer.